Starr, aka Sidney Favors, was arrested for what?
The charges in this story are disturbing, and I just want to say that before we get into it. Reality TV personality Sidney Starr is behind bars in Fulton County.
Any man who would off his is crazy. I personally, this is my I have no scientific, sociological, or otherwise evidence to support my idea, but I personally believe. Y'all heard what I said.
Sidney, you've always been a bimbo and a dumb bitch. But bitch, this is too much.
On June?
Was that another one of them trying to say I'm not like them? I'm not like the rest of them. I'm not like, don't mix me up with Sidney.
1st, 2023, at the Woodward Inn in Highland Park, Michigan, a murder happened. A transgender sex worker by the name of Asia Davis had all of a sudden been killed, and people were trying to find out.
That's why I don't like women that wear a lot of makeup. That's crazy right there. And something happened to him, right?
Davis had all of a sudden been killed, and people were trying to find out who did it.
Friends of the victim, Asia Davis, a 34-year-old
nigga like Charlie Baltimore,
transgender woman, are speaking out in hopes that anyone who knows something will not remain silent.
It took some while to find out who the individual was that committed the crime, but we found out that it was a young man by the name of Carlos Scotland.
He snapped. He looked like he snapped. He's still in the snap place. Listen, this is not funny. There's nothing cool about this whatsoever. But a lot of times when you hear violent statistics when it comes to people of this particular, for the T community, a lot of time it is either violence on one of them together or someone trying to trick someone. That is an awful thing to do to someone. To me, I put it on the same level as the grapes. Same thing. In fact, I would argue that it's deeper. You done psychologically grape somebody.
Asia Davis was 34, but Carlos Scotland was only.
And you put that part into it. Come on, man. Any man. Come on now.
Damn. Now, this does not excuse what he did, because it's still wrong. He's absolutely. And that was a human being. That was a human being. Regardless of how you see this person, it was a human being. But stop playing. Serving like 17 to 30 years in prison. But people were talking about this big age difference. Asia Davis was 34. And why was Asia dealing with someone that was 17? It's interesting to know that the baseline.
So he could be young and inexperienced, not know what questions to ask, not have enough worldview to say, listen, man, this lady kind of tall. Or whatever, whatever your standard is to want to question someone. And his young, eager hormones would throw that to the wind. Where a grown man might ask you straight up, what's up with you? You know, I ain't trying to offend you or nothing, but what up? You felt like you could just trick him. That's all I'm saying.
Of sexual consent in the state of Michigan is years, but that doesn't mean a 34-year-old can deal with somebody who is years. Typically, they have something called like a Romeo law. If you're a few years away from, such as 18 or 19, you kind of have a little bit of leeway. And that's how these states work, that have this kind of baseline age of consent. And that brings us to what's going on right now in Atlanta. Sidney Starr, aka known as Sidney Favors, is a transgender socialite out of Chicago.
It's the one that was running around with Eddie Winslow. That's why I'm so mad, man. Malcolm Jamal Warner done Eddie Winslow running around with this. Come on, man.
Sidney Starr first went viral when Sidney accused rapper Chingy of engaging in a sexual relationship with a transgender.
Yep. Yeah,
And
it's
what
the
did
same
this
one.
do to Chingy's career?
I had a MasterCard credit card deal, like with my own MasterCards, man. I was finna sign to Interscope. I was on LA on yachts and eating fruit with these people, talking about.
Then Yo turn around, just lied on him. Yo just lied on him, like, yeah, that's me and Chingy. Chingy like, what? I'm just taking a picture with a fan. And people didn't know any better back then. It wasn't social media wasn't as prevalent then as it is now to debunk
album
it.
deals. And
Plus, we all know that the lie travel faster than the truth. Yeah, that's messed up, y'all. Anyway, here we go.
I had a lot going on at that time, and all that, boy, when that hit.
Chingy lost everything. He never, ever recovered. And Sidney Starr would give an excuse for this.
I was young-minded. I started my transition at 15. Chingy opened up for one of the shows. And I always had a big crush on Chingy. So the thing was, I wanted to get a picture. And, he was very welcoming.
The main thing that I heard there was, I was immature.
They start giving you statistics. Oh, this amount are unalived every year. This many people, this happened to them every year. They live a terrible life. They be collecting money for them and all that. Oh, they need help and people, they live such a treacherous life. Stop doing that to people, yo. Why you want to run around tricking people? If you're so proud of who you are, just be proud of it. Know what I'm saying? Pull out your Johnson. Whatever you do. I don't know. Let people know. This is what it is. Instead of trying to trick people, like there's something just intrinsically diabolical about that. Predatory even, I'd say. It's crazy, yo.
At the time. And that's important to understand because 2012 was 14 years ago. So that means Sidney Starr should not be having those same problems.
You talk about mad
today, right? On August 2nd, 2026, at Embassy Suites in Hapeville, Georgia, Sidney Starr, aka Sidney Favors, was arrested for what?
The charge.
looking like itself.
Starr, aka Sidney Favors, was arrested for what?
The charges in this story are disturbing, and I just want to say that before we get into it. Reality TV personality Sidney Starr is behind bars in Fulton County, facing severe felony charges involving a Hapeville police arrested the model and television personality whose legal name is Sidney Favors on Sunday at the Embassy Suites on International Boulevard. Police say Favors is charged with against a under 16 and aggravated molestation.
It's
Any man. Y'all know what I was thinking.
weird that Sidney Starr would even be at Embassy Suites at a hotel in general, even if the person was an adult, but especially if the person is. Now, this matches very closely to the Asia Davis story, where Asia Davis met this young man at the Woodward Inn in Highland Park, but in this case, there was no actual murder. Sidney Starr was at Embassy Suites, and my idea of why Sidney Starr was there was for the same purpose that Asia Davis might have been there.
Right, they wasn't hanging out. They wasn't doing a 10-kilo deal. What do you think they was doing there?
Which was most likely some kind of sexual for a pay sort of thing. But let's get back to the state of Georgia, right? It's very
For who paying who? You think some 16-year-old was tricking off on this one? Or was this one tricking off on the, oh, I can't even say the age, but you understand what I'm saying? Like, what makes more sense?
similar to the state of Michigan. They both have the legal age consent of years old. It doesn't mean that if you're 33, 34, or 35, that you can talk to the legal age of consent. Just like Michigan, you have that window of somebody that's like 19, 20, or 18. It's kind of within a few years. So this whole...
What if you were them, they? That's what they think. They got special, they identify. And listen, I'm going to say something else. Yo, this is probably going to be a heavily edited video. I just got to say how I really feel. I personally think that these people are trying to add a P to the letters, if you understand what I'm saying. I think it's a slow, slippery slope. It's particularly when you start deciding what your identity is. What's to prevent you from identifying as little old
of Sidney Starr dealing with somebody or under is still terrible. And now
There's going to be hundreds of think pieces on this is what trans people do. This is what, see, they're men and men like this
It's like Michelle Obama brother.
is going to hinder us as a whole.
Now, this point is interesting. Remember the Asia Davis case that I talked about? In 2023, people
crazy.
completely forgot that Asia Davis was 34, dealing with the then world.
No, they made it like it was just, this evil person just hurt this poor trans person. How dare this evil child? What?
What was really talked about was the transphobia, trans hatred,
Exactly.
and the fact that this young man was years old. Nobody talked about it. It was swept underneath the rug. But in this case, there was no attack on Sidney Starr. And the individual here is correct, because it's going to be very easy for certain people to say, you see what, some people in the
What's wrong with that makeup, yo?
LGBTQ do. They are dealing with people of X, Y, and Z's age. And the reality is it's not a good look for the LGBTQ. And I'm going to tell you why. If a heterosexual man does something like this, everybody has already trashed heterosexual men to the point of no return. You cannot embarrass men any more than they've already been talked about. Men are abusive. Men are the worst things in the world. But if you're a part of the LGBTQ,
they're supposed to be all lovely, sugar and spice and everything nice. They just friendly. They just want to be friendly. Even the word gay means happy. And I'm not saying everybody in the community is that. I'm just saying there's something in particular about the T's. This is how I feel.
And this is one of the issues when you have somebody like Sidney Starr, who is largely visible.
He's at the urinal?
And popular amongst certain people in the genre, that people look at this and say, oh, well, Sidney Starr is definitely transgender. So yeah, this may be true that other people participate in the same thing. But then
I'm saying this person, if you living like that, you clearly have some measure. You're living with some measure of perversion. You can't tell me that you regular everything else except for you feel like this. Come on, man, it's crazy. I'm trying to use my words, properly here. Try to avoid everything.
Even if it was a date, are we not vetting the dates? Are we not vetting the dates? Like, I can tell, you should be able to tell if someone is under the age of 19.
This nigga got a patch of chest hair? Is that what's going on right here? What year-old is buying pussy? That sounds insane to me.
Now, this is also a good point, because how do you not tell? Now, living in the Black community, I'm pretty sure there are kids who are tall or muscular or whatever the case may be.
Whatever.
I mean, that was the case when I was growing up. But there are just certain signs that you can tell if somebody is or not. And not only that, the individual was under.
Damn.
That's what Sidney is being accused of. The individual wasn't even. And certain people are saying that individual could have been as young as.
We have no idea. They're keeping it under wraps for the purposes of protecting the other person.
How do you not know about this? Now, I know there are certain people that are saying that, they're looking more adult or more grown. There are just certain things about people that are going to let you know that they're in that age group. If you talk to somebody like 21, 22, 23, you know that person's young. And God forbid it's somebody 18 or around that age, or God forbid even younger. How did you not know? And then why did you think that you could get away with it, especially at the embassy
A lot of people, there are psycho people in the world.
suites. And I could only think of one thing. A level of entitlement. Let me explain. You can only do something like this because you feel like nothing can happen to you, all right? And I felt like certain protected groups may think that, hey, I can always hide behind X, Y, and Z and I'll be okay, or I can just justify it. But you always gotta understand that there's only certain things people can protect you from. Nobody can defend this kind of behavior. It's
crazy,
even if the quote unquote
some nigga running around with boobies wiggling at you doing this strange ass dance. I mean, I'm laughing, but when you insert someone, unlegal, come on, man, this is insane, y'all.
Boy was a willing participant, and obviously there's the whole idea of the word, and that can include,
Not funny at all.
The backside or oral and stuff like that. That's also talked about in this. But nobody would do something like this if they felt like they would not be punished. And Sidney thought that this would go unpunished.
Whole nigga. Whole regular ass nigga.
And I know that many people have been rooting for Sidney Starr's downfall for at least 16 years. But the reality is that Sidney had all the time in the world to get it together and just didn't. You might have said that you were immature in 2010 and 2011. Well, you're hella immature in 2026. And now we've been thinking about, how long have you been doing this? And Sidney is the main person exposing everybody else's information, leaking stuff, leaking photos. The same thing with Darius.
That's the kind of stuff they was on. Sidney was on. I know the initial thing with Chingy, because I know about Chingy and I know about Darius McCray when he was with Eddie Winslow running around all around town looking crazy. Eddie looked like he was on something, very excited, very itchy.
McCrary trying to end people's careers. And if you're going to participate in ending other people's careers, you gotta walk a fine line. Like, your stuff cannot stink at all. But then the moment that we see that your stuff stinks and you have problems, people are gonna be like, wait, hold on. I know this ain't you that's messing up, is it?
I don't know, man. I don't know what's going on, man. It's been a very freaky week. Roland Martin and this situation going on. Goddamn, DJ Envy don't know how to wash his ass. What's happening in America?